Hey everybody, just wanted to jump on and do a quick video on how you can get more quotes. Now, what we're going to talk about is super simple and so simple that most people actually won't do it. It's very similar to like a diet or a workout program or anything else in life. Most of the simplest stuff in life we just don't do. A lot of people when they come to the call with me are going to be like, "Well, Richard, that seems really easy. How come I can't just do it myself?" And I'm like, "You can do it yourself. You just won't." And so what we're going to talk about is how do we get more quotes? Well, if you go look at most insurance agents' profiles on social media, you're never going to know they even sell insurance, right? And that's kind of really sad because in the online game, it's about eyeballs, right? About the people that are in our network, the people that are searching for us online, knowing what we do. And most insurance agents are like, well, what do I post? Well, this is a really easy way to solve that because coming up with content for insurance is actually fairly hard because it's like, well, what do we talk about? Why don't we talk about getting in crashes? People talk about people like being undercovered, but it's like, do most people really want to read that? They don't. What they want to hear about is the fact that you saved somebody money and gave them better coverage because that's exactly what most people are going to respond to. If you look at the way people look for insurance, and okay, you're buying leads. Well, guess what? Most of them are shoppers, right? They're shopping online for insurance, and the issue is a lot of times is a lot of those type of people are in that like saving mentality. They're in that possibly the buying stage, but a lot of times they're just in the exploratory phase. They're not even in a buying stage. And the cool thing about social media is that if you put it out there enough, a lot of different people are going to see it. And so what we're going to talk about today is a social shout out program where we're going to leverage somebody that just bought a policy from us. Let's say they came to us from whatever carrier they were with, and we saved them 20, 30, 40, 50, $100 a month, or whatever the number is. We're going to have them actually push that information out to their network and leverage their network. Because if you think about it, most people have about 500 to 1,000 friends, right? And if they have 500 to 1,000 friends, how are you going to get in front of those 500 to 1,000 eyeballs? Well, chances are, if you don't do something like this, you're actually not going to because they're never going to see you, right? And a lot of people, when they look at this type of a program, what they're thinking about is like, well, when I get a policy sold, I try to get them to give me a review on Google, which I'm not going to discount because we're going to get to that in just a few minutes. But if you really weigh the options, like, okay, so I want you to either give me a social shout out, right? Or I want you to give me a Google review. There's two different options. Well, if you think about it, if they give you a Google review, how's somebody ever going to see that review? Well, the only way they're going to see that review is if they somehow Google insurance in your area and somehow you come up. With 9 out of 10 agents do not come up. If you go on page one right now and see if you are number one or number two or number three in your area, you're probably not. So that means the person that's Googling insurance in your area will never see the review that that new client just posted. You might feel good about it, like, man, I just got another review, which we do need to build reviews so we actually can show up on those top pages, right? But it's something that's like, oh, it's supplementary, right? Because what we're going to do is, if you think about it, Google review over here where, okay, we're going to have them put that, and the only way somebody's going to see it is if they Google it. Or what if we have them use the exact same verbiage, put it on their Facebook and tag us, and then all of a sudden all their 500 to 1,000 friends and family and colleagues or whoever the heck they have on their social media profiles actually see it. Which one's more beneficial? You want eyeballs now or eyeballs later? Well, we kind of want both. So what I'm going to show you really quickly is just how to do this. And it's really, really simple. And when I say simple, I mean simple like you probably won't even do it because you're going to be like, well, I didn't see a lot of traction in the first 5 days. I didn't get all these people messaging me. Well, just like a diet, you ain't going to see results in 5 days. I don't care what you do, even if you starve yourself, right? So step one, when you sell a policy, you need to send a friend request. There is no reason that the people that purchase from you should not be your friends. A lot of people are like, well, I want to keep my profile personal. Well, you know what? Then you're not really in the sales game because at the end of the day, your paycheck depends on how much you sell, and there's no reason to those eyeballs. If you want to have two profiles, fine, go have two profiles, but you need to have one of them and not a business page that actually you utilize to promote. Because when you use a business page, I don't know if you know about Facebook algorithm, but they really don't. On you can have a business page and you can post something on it and like nobody sees it. But your friends, you post something on there, well, not all of them, but a lot of them see it. So the very first step, every single time you sell a policy, your producer sell a policy. This needs to be part of your process, just like binding the policy, making sure that they got all the information, making sure they make the payment, all that kind of stuff. Hey, you just binded a policy. You need to make sure to send them a friend request, because as soon as you do that, they're going to see more of the content that you're putting out. And guess what? If you only sold them a monoline auto, or you only sold them a home, or just renter's insurance, or just one line, chances are of them actually doing business with you down the road every time they see you is a lot higher. So we're going to send them a friend request. Second thing we're going to do is we're just going to say, hey, thanks for connecting. And you can kind of see how I've laid this out is you don't want to be overbearing with this. You don't want to like send them a friend request and then all of a sudden just pounce on them, right? Because some people are like, they don't like that. And other people actually do sometimes respond to it, but it's a very small group of people. So usually you send them a friend request, you wait a day or two, and then you're like, hey, thanks for connecting. And then this is really where we get to the meat and potatoes of it is, hey, you know what? We talked to you the other day. We say it looks like you saved, $42 or whatever that looks like. Would you be open to doing a social shout out for us? It's super simple, just telling people how we helped you, right? And you can kind of modify each of these scripts here, because it's really the context of the message, not the actual message, right? And you can reframe it however you want to, but basically, hey, we saved you money. Would you be open to telling people about it or doing a social shout out? Most people are like, well, what's a social shout out? Well, it's basically a Google review that you're just going to put on Facebook and then tag us. And the reason we want you to put it on Facebook is because when you post it on Facebook, all of your friends and family see it. And when they see that you just saved a bunch of money by switching to us, guess what? They're going to be like, oh, they might be a little bit intrigued. They might send us a message. They might like or comment and see more of this stuff. And then maybe they don't take action on it today, but maybe they take action on it maybe 2 or 3 posts from now or 2 or 3 months from now, right? You're starting to groom that person to actually reach out and, get a quote from you. Okay. So it's super, super simple. So you're going to ask them, hey, would you be open to doing it? And then you're going to give them a few templates. And here's the reason why we do a few templates is because a lot of people are totally open to reviewing you. I don't care if it's on Google, Facebook, or whatever it is. The problem is a lot of people are like, well, I don't know what to say. And it's like, okay, well, why don't we just give them a few templates? Like, hey, this is what you could say. You could say we saved this money, or we did really great customer service, or we called them back on time. Like, there's a whole bunch of different ways. And so what you want to do is just you want to friend them, you want to start a little conversation, and then you want to just ask them for that social shout out, and then give them some templates on what they actually need to say, so that way they can post it. And then you just tell them, hey, after you're done, can you tag me in it? Just put the @ symbol and then tag us in it. So that way, not only does it go out to your network, your friends and family, it also goes out to our network. Super, super simple. Again, this is so simple that a lot of agents just don't do it, right? And then here's the other thing that we have to be very cognitive and very understanding about is that at the end of the day, are we on the top of their priority list? No, there are so many people that have done business with you that are totally open to reviewing you. But guess what? When you ask them, hey, would you be open to just, putting a review on Google, right? Before you even get to the social shout out, and they're like, absolutely, you did great. I'll go ahead and do that. And then all of a sudden, guess what happens? Their dog pukes on the carpet. They got to go to soccer practice. They get in an argument with their spouse. Something like that happens to where it's like, oh, well, I totally forgot. And the further away that it gets from the time that it happened to the time they give you the review, it diminishes. This just falls right off a cliff because it's not on the top of their priority. And guess what? That feeling that they're like, man, you did a really good job, kind of starts diminishing over time. So you want to make sure that you do this fairly quickly right after they bind the policy. Okay. So one of the things, the reason I bring that up is because you're gonna have to follow up. So you can't think of this like, oh my gosh, I did a really good job. They said I did a really good job. And then all of a sudden they didn't do it. Well, they must not like me, or there must be something wrong. No, they just got busy, because in today's world, people get busy, right? And they forget. So in this case, you kind of gotta almost balance being overbearing with being too patient, because if you're too patient, it's going to be too far along. If you're overbearing, they might think you're naggy, right? So that's the basic context. Send them a friend request, start a conversation, get them to do a social shout out, and make sure they tag you. Now, the second step, and there's kind of 3 steps to this, is at the end of the day. So if you wrote 3 policies today and you sent a friend request and all 3 of them might have accepted or declined, doesn't matter. You want to put a post out saying, hey, in our agency today, this is what happened. Client 1, client 2, client 3. We saved them $41. We doubled their coverage. Hey, we saved them $15 and we gave them better coverage than they have. Hey, you know what? We same exact set money, but we sold them a life insurance policy. Now their family's protected, right? You want to list those out each day that you sell policies, because then even if it's only one person, right? If you're a smaller agency or a brand new agency, or you're a single agent or a producer, put it out there because it was a win today, and you want to make sure people know about it, because the more that you have this kind of stuff out there, the more people are going to message you, comment, and call you, to where you have inbound calls. You're not having to deal with like internet leads and crap, right? So you want to do this once a day. If you're selling every day, you want to do it at the end of the week. So hey, here's the wins for this week. This is what happened. We helped 27 families. Boom, 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 right? You want to do it at the end of the month as well. Boom, 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 boom. Why? Because the more content that you put out there, here's the thing that this solves. You don't have to come up with stupid crap that you're going to post on social media about insurance, because nobody wants to hear about, a fire hazard, or, I don't know if you're with a captive agency, there's a whole bunch of corporate stuff that people put out that's just like, oh my gosh, you got one like, and it was your mom, right? It's absolutely horrible. So this solves that problem because it's positive stuff, and people like saving money. I don't care what economy we're in. People like to save money. The last thing that we're going to do is we're going to move this from a social shout out to a Google review. And the reason why we want to do this is because Google reviews are still important. And a lot of agents, if they don't get a whole bunch of Google reviews, you're not going to show up on page one. And if you're not on page one, you might as well not even be on the internet anymore. Because if you think about the way you search and the way I search, when we Google something, we usually look at the first top 3, top 5, maybe, but only 2% of people ever go to page 2. So if you're not there, well, you're not there. You're just, you don't even exist, right? And so getting Google reviews is secondary because it's not getting eyeballs right now, but we do need to build that so we move from whatever page we're on to page 1, and we can actually start getting people to see these reviews, right? And for most people, you need to be north of like 25, 30 reviews. If not, in today's age, probably north of 50 if you're in a big market, even over 100. So this needs to be something that's very important. And really all we're going to do is like a week after they do a social shout out. So they put it on Facebook, maybe they get a couple comments, maybe we get a policy or two or something from that. But then we're going to say, hey, would you be open to just copying what you said on Facebook and just put it on Google? Here's the link, right? And I forgot to put that. Give them the link to Google. Okay, this is super important because most people are not going to go on Google, search for you, and then leave a review. Just give them the link, ask them, hey, go ahead and go to this link, copy what you put on Facebook, put it right here on Google, and it's done, right? Because then we're building those reviews so where we actually move from whatever page we're on to the front page where people actually see it. Because if you, at the end of the day, the reason why I started out with a social shout out thing is because, just like I said at the beginning of this video, nobody's going to see this review. So you might be like, oh, well, you know what? I'm just going to do Google reviews, then social shout outs. No, like what the heck? No, because there's no eyeballs, right? If you're on page 4 or even on page 2, you're at the top of page 2 and you've got these great reviews, nobody sees them because you're not on page 1. So there's no eyeballs. It's better to put them on Facebook right now and get eyeballs from 50, 100, 200 people, depending on how many friends they have, than it is to have 0, right? Because eyeballs equals quotes, quotes equal money, period, right? So that's super simple. So this is like one of the most simple things that I see so many agents that just don't do it. They just don't do anything on social. You wouldn't even know they sold insurance, just like I said at the beginning. So step 1, every policy you sell, send them a friend request. After that, you're going to either wait a couple days and or engage them. It kind of depends on that person, but you're going to engage them in a little bit of conversation, and then you're going to ask them to do a social shout out. You're going to give them a template of what to say, which you can do a million different templates, right? Just go on Google, look for different reviews, and then modify it, and then have a whole template list, right, of 30, 40, 50 different templates that you can just give them. Hey, plug in your situation and put it on there. Make sure you tag us. So that way, not only their people see it, but our people see it as well. And then if they don't do it, don't get discouraged because everybody's busy. And then every single day, put it in your to-do list of making sure that you do a daily, a weekly, and a monthly post about what your wins were. Who did you help? How much did you save, right? Sometimes we didn't even save them money. We just gave them proper coverage to where they actually have what they actually need. And then at the end of that, after about a week, they did the social shout out, ask them to put it on Google. So I don't want to keep this video. I know this video is already too long. I've been talking way too much, but just do this. If you do this consistently for the next 30 to 60 days, do not call me or message me or comments and say, well, Richard, I did this for a week and my phone's not blowing up. It doesn't matter what you do for a week. Nothing's really going to happen. You have to be consistent for 30, 60, 90 days, and then you're going to start seeing real results. So commit to it, do it, and get it done. And if you guys have any questions, comment below on the video, or we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.